This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 13th day of May in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. People's National Congress reform stalwart Amna Ali was hailed today as a giant in politics who served her country selflessly in and out of government in the areas of education, politics, governance, and human and social development. Ali served as Minister of Social Cohesion, then later Minister of Social Protection under the former APNU-AFC government. Since her death on Saturday, tributes have been pouring in from all sides of the political aisle, and those tributes continue today at her funeral. President Irfan Ali was among those offering tributes. Though their politics were different, President Ali said Amna Ali was a sister and friend to him. Today at the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, he remembered her for her service to the country as an educator and politician.
Her life was one of steady, committed service to her community, her students, her party, and her country. She wore many hats over the course of her life: teacher, politician, parliamentarian, government minister, and she wore each with selfless service. But perhaps the hat that fit her most comfortably was that of a human being who never lost sight of humanity in others, even in the heart and the heat of political battle. And trust me, she was in the heart and heat of many political battles.
The president said her life was not without challenges, but through it all, she gave selflessly. As a veteran politician, Amna Ali served as the General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform for a number of years. She served that party as a member for 50 years and resigned last year over concerns about the direction of the party under the current leadership of Aubrey Norton. Norton was absent from the funeral service today, but in paying tribute, close friend and former opposition leader Joe Harmon said Amna Ali was a woman and a champion of the people.
Amna Ali was like no other. There's only one Amna Ali there is and will ever be. Amna Ali encapsulated so much of what we hope to be as citizens of this beautiful country. Amna Ali was able to speak to all sides of the political divide. She was able to bring people together, and this is one of the qualities that Brigadier Granger saw in her when he made her the first and only Minister of Social Cohesion, because she has that capacity to bring people together, to motivate people, to get them to do better.
Mr. Harmon said Amna Ali was a friend like no other, who served with vigor. Noting that she would surely be missed, he said she had the ability to mobilize financial and other support for the party.
The party, I know, will miss Amna. There's no other like Amna. Amna was a machine for raising funds for the party, and this is what helped the party to do its work. This is what helped us in all of the campaigns that we ran.
At her former residence, Opposition Member of Parliament Natasha Singh Lewis said Amna Ali was her mentor and mother-like figure.
She has mothered a lot of people. She has done a lot of good for people that she didn't even know, but that was her personality.
She said it was because of Amna Ali that she was inspired to enter politics.
And I can tell you, my own experience is that I am in politics today because of Amna Ali. And this was her criteria. Natasha, the Muslims in this country need to see one of their own in the highest level of politics. The PNC embodies inclusivity. And so you are that person for us. And so in 2020, when I entered politics formally, it was at the request of Amna Ali.
Tributes also poured in from former General Secretary of the PNC Reform Dawn Hastings Williams and former City Mayor Ubraj Narain.
I know Amna was going through a lot of pain, but the contribution towards the People's National Congress is tremendous. When it comes to fundraising, when it comes to organizing events and meetings, Amna Ali was number one for those things. I will miss the cousin. I will miss her love, because she will just engage you in a heated argument and call you back and say, babes, this thing need to be done.
Amna Ali was laid to rest this afternoon in her hometown of Rosignol, Berbice. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back. Tonight, the Guyana Human Rights Association says it remains gravely concerned over the unresolved circumstances surrounding the death of 11-year-old Adriana Young and the rising public distrust that the death continues to provoke. In a statement today, the human rights body said the dominant theme driving national unrest is not merely the tragic nature of the death itself, but the deepening disbelief in statements and actions issued by local police and government officials. The GHRA said the government's stated strategy of limiting its response to known facts offers little reassurance. The pattern raises questions about political motives, the GHRA said, adding that with national elections on the horizon, Afro-Guyanese-led street unrest inevitably triggers a return to party loyalty among elements of the ruling party's traditional support base. The GHRA said linking such unrest to electoral concerns without hard evidence would be reckless. However, it noted administrative ineptitude is not providing reliable information, which could encourage such thinking. The body recalled the statements by the international diplomatic missions, including those of the UK, US, and the EU, that have urged calm and reaffirmed their commitment to democracy and peace in Guyana. However, the association said such calls, while welcoming, fall short of addressing the core issue, namely public trust in national institutions like the Guyana Police Force, the publicly owned media, and public spokespersons. The human rights body has also urged the diplomatic community to give equal priority to ensuring the technical recommendations of any international investigative support are made directly available to the Guyanese public. It said the current case must not repeat the failures of the 2020 initiative to resolve the West Coast Berbice murders of the Henry Boys and young Harish Singh. In that case, cooperation between the GPF, the police force that is, the GHRA, the families of the murdered boys and their lawyer saw the director of the highly respected Buenos Aires-based Latin American forensic anthropology team brought to Guyana. However, the non-cooperation of the Home Affairs Ministry prevented the CID from meeting or benefiting from that visit. With respect to the Adriana case, the Human Rights Association said since the public cannot be expected to accept conclusions delivered solely by an institution that has so far relied on evasion, misinformation, and selective enforcement, referring to the police, there has to be an arrangement with the involvement of all sectors, including Parliament, civil society, the diplomatic community, the media, and the family of Adriana Young. Adriana Young's family has been calling for an international investigation that would involve the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigations. The U.S. ambassador on Monday said the Guyana government has made no request for the FBI's help. The government has instead secured the services of a retired homicide investigator from Canada to assist local police. President Irfan Ali said the government has been keeping its promises made to the family. It appears unlikely, however, that the government will seek any additional foreign help to assist the local police.
Everything that I've committed to in the case, we brought in the independent pathologists. They have done their work. There's an independent investigator in. I've done what I said I would have done. The political handlers are now at work aggressively. Let the political handlers deal with what they want.
So the FBI wouldn't be...
Adriana Young, who was found dead in the pool of a double-day hotel at Tushin one day after she was reported missing, is still to be laid to rest. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service is currently reviewing the latest submissions by Guyana in response to its application for the U.S. to lift the ban on the importation of catfish from Guyana. On Monday, the U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Nico Therio, said the submission of additional documents to the U.S. Department of Agriculture was made within the last month, in response to a series of questions posed by the U.S. authorities.
The government of Guyana has most recently, the latest step is that the government of Guyana has responded quite comprehensively to the latest round of questions that we have. Obviously the whole point of the current ban is simply to make sure that everything that comes into the United States is safe for consuming. It's all about safety and phytosanitary, and so
in 2017, Guyana was among a number of countries that were banned from exporting catfish to the U.S. over safety concerns. Since then, it has been an uphill task to get that ban lifted. The U.S. ambassador said once the review is completed, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will indicate whether it requires additional information or documentation or whether the ban will be lifted.
The Department of Agriculture is currently reviewing all of those responses, and then once they've done that, they will either ask additional questions or they will choose to lift the ban.
The current Guyana government has been anxiously awaiting a decision from the U.S. authorities on the 8-year ban.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your registration details are accurate. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. You can visit the GCOM registration offices Monday to Thursday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Need small appliance for your kitchen? Giftland have it. Need fridge or stove? Giftland have it. Speakers or laptop? Giftland have it. I'm telling you, Giftland have everything. And don't get me started on TVs. 58-inch, 65-inch, 70-inch, 75-inch. All sizes in leading brands. Best thing about it, they give a warranty. Man, Giftland is the place for all your electronics purchases.
Washi. Hi people, washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Well, the Guyana Revenue Authority has faced another setback in its bid to seize those luxury vehicles from businessman Adriana Mohammed and his sister Hannah Mohammed. In another legal blow, the full court on Monday upheld an earlier decision by the High Court to block the GRA from seizing the luxury vehicles owned by the Mohammeds. The decision, which was handed down by Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George and Justice Nareshwar Harnanan, means that the GRA cannot seize the Mohammeds' vehicles until and unless a substantive matter is heard and decided upon against the Mohammeds. The court has also ordered the GRA to pay $300,000 each in costs to Azruddin and Hannah Mohammed by the 30th of June this year. The Guyana Revenue Authority has claimed that the Mohammeds failed to pay more than $1 billion in taxes for the tie-in vehicles. The vehicles include a 2020 Ferrari, which the GRA claims it is still owed almost $480 million in taxes on, a 2023 Range Rover, which the GRA said is seeking a further $62 million in taxes on, a 2023 Rolls Royce, which the GRA wants $321 million more in taxes, among other vehicles. The GRA had descended upon the Mohammeds' home to seize the vehicles, but the Mohammeds filed a court action to stop that seizure and also filed a substantive case for a final determination on the issue of the alleged tax breaches. The Mohammeds have long claimed that the GRA's sudden move to go after them for taxes were politically motivated and might have been driven by an apparent fallout between the Mohammeds and the governing People's Progressive Party. Following the ruling, Hannah Mohammed said the family welcomes the ruling. She noted that it reaffirms their confidence in the strength and independence of the local judiciary. The Ministry of Public Works has indicated that work is moving apace with the construction of the new Demorara River Bridge, with the physical development of the bridge structure currently standing at 76.9%. According to the ministry, there are now 1,383 workers attached to the $260 million bridge construction project. 116 of those workers are Guyanese, with the others being foreign nationals. Works executed on the 2.8-kilometer bridge to date include the driving of piles for the two main towers to a depth of 120 meters, with each pile cast from 500 cubic meters of concrete. A statement from the Department of Public Information indicated. The current phase of the project is nearing completion, with the installation of pile caps at 98%. Additionally, 94% of the pier columns have been installed to provide extra support, while 93% of the tie beams have been placed to connect the pier columns. To further fortify the structure, bend caps are also being installed, with 91% of those caps already placed. Bend caps serve as an intermediate support between bridge spans that transfers and resist vertical loads and lateral loads, such as earthquake and wind, from the superstructure to the foundation. Some 85% of the precast girders are fabricated, while 73% were installed. With the work steadily advancing, there have been no incidents or accidents on the East Bank and West Bank during the reporting week, the ministry said. Once completed, the bridge will connect regions 3 and 4, improving economic activity. The toll-free crossing will accommodate vehicles of all sizes. The distribution of the Ministry of Education's Because We Care cash grant started yesterday in regions 7 and 9. And according to the ministry, the beginning of the distribution has been proceeding well. This year's grant is expected to benefit more than 205,000 students across the country who are registered in both public and private schools. In Region 7, there are 8,145 students who are eligible for the grant, while 10,831 students are eligible for the grant in Region 9. Speaking at the Little Anthony Primary School in Bartica, the Education Minister Priya Manik Chan noted that the grant is geared towards assisting parents of school-aged children. It started at 10,000 per child back in 2014.
But it is this government's policy to share the money. It is the PPPC's promise to you that we are delivering, and that is why you're getting that money. Because we have the money. We didn't have a drop of oil in 2014. But we began sharing in 2014. So it's not oil, it's the will, the political will to make sure you get a piece of the pie, whether it's through a school or textbooks or bridges or roads or a better wharf or better transportation or through a cash grant.
The Education Minister emphasized the importance of ensuring that every child is in school and noted that every eligible child will receive the grant.
And I want you to look around and I want you to note that when you come up to the table, you're going to see it's a smooth and easy process. And nobody is allowed to say to any of you what color you are. So look at yourselves right now. You mix up here like a good cook-up. We have indigenous people, we have people of Indian descent, we have people of African descent, we have the seventh race, which is Dalla, mixed up all over, and nobody's going to look up from this table and say, let me see what color you look like. Nobody's going to ask any of you today, how do you pray at the end of the week, or do you pray? Nobody is going to ask you today, how did you vote? Are you a PPP supporter or an APNU supporter?
Ms. Manik Chen stated that the criteria for the grant remains the same. It was explained that every public and private school child from nursery year 1 to grade 10 in high school who is on a school's register and is attending school will be eligible to receive the grant. She also explained that if parents or guardians are unable to uplift the grant on the scheduled date, they can visit their respective regional education office to uplift the grant at a time that is convenient to them.
Buster presenting the new 500 milliliter. Wow, Buster flavorful. Make every meal better. Grab a Buster for drink, Buster move. Taste this. 500 ml, that's it. Buster for this, that's cool. Buster 500 milliliter is a brand new choice of my drink with my food. Vibing every munch, that's smooth. Introducing the new Buster 500 milliliter. Grab a bottle with your lunch today.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, the United Nations has information that over 100 Venezuelans deported from the United States are being held at a high security center in El Salvador, where they face potential human rights violations, the UN Human Rights Chief said on Tuesday. According to Reuters, the fate and whereabouts of at least another 245 Venezuelans and some 30 Salvadorans sent to El Salvador during U.S. President Donald Trump's deportation drive remain unclear. The UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, added Trump has invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to swiftly deport suspected members of criminal gangs, including Venezuela's Tren de Aragua that his administration labels terrorist groups. At least 142,000 people were deported from the U.S. between January 20 and April 29, according to OHCHR, citing official U.S. data. OHCHR said information from family members and lawyers for deported Venezuelans indicated many are now detained at El Salvador's Center for Terrorism Confinement. President Xi Jinping vowed on Tuesday to boost China's footprint in Latin America and the Caribbean with a new $9 billion credit line and fresh infrastructure investment, although Brazil warned the region not to become overly reliant on foreign funding. The world's second largest economy will disperse $9.18 billion in credit to the community of Latin American and Caribbean states CELAC members, the Chinese president told delegates from around 30 nations gathered in Beijing for the 3-yearly China CELAC Forum ministerial meeting. The Chinese president promised leaders, including Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva and Colombian counterpart Gustavo Petro, that China would also import more from Latin America and encourage its firms to boost investment. Beijing has stepped up efforts in recent years to displace the United States as the region's primary development partner, although China's Global Belt and Road Infrastructure Initiative has encountered challenges in some countries. And finally tonight, international news. Share markets jumped on Monday after President Trump said weekend talks had resulted in total reset in trade terms between the U.S. and China, a move which goes some way to defuse the high-stakes standoff between the two countries. The talks resulted in significant cuts to the tit-for-tat tariffs that had been stocked up since January on both sides. The U.S. will lower those tariffs from 145% to 30%, while China's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods will drop to 10% from 125%. President Trump told reporters that as some of the levies have been suspended rather than cancelled altogether, they might rise again in 3 months' time if no further progress was made. However, he said he did not expect them to return to the previous 145% peak. He said he expected to speak to the Chinese president maybe at the end of the week. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.